Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Salem. And our question tonight comes to us from someone whose screen name is a series of numbers I do not exactly remember. But the question is, what does it take to legally become clergy in the United States? And I thought I would attempt to answer this, although, as with many subjects that we discuss in the vlog, our format is not really long enough for an exhaustive discussion of what all is involved, but we can look at parts of it. And the first and most important part to look at is that law in the United States is in many ways intensely local. Particularly in this case, the real answer to this is that if you were seeking to become legal clergy, one of the things you would need to do is to go to your local Secretary of State's office and find out what the local laws are, because they vary from state to state and often from county to county. They don't tend to vary all that much, but they do vary, and in some places they vary significantly. And so you would need to know that. Generally speaking, what is required is to be recognized by a legal church and to be in good standing with them. And generally speaking, different states will ask for different kinds of proof of that. Some require a letter. Many are happy with a certificate. Some require no proof at all. It depends entirely on the locality you're talking about. For the most part in the United States, that's really all there is to it in terms of being recognized as legal clergy. Now, getting that recognition from the legal church is another matter. Some require many years of study, some require no study at all, and many are right in the middle. It largely depends on the religion and the size of the church. The larger the church, generally speaking, the more study they're going to require, because they have many more candidates for clergy. And the smaller the church, chances are they will have fewer requirements. Certain Christian churches have virtually no requirements at all, both because of their size and because of their beliefs. There are a number of small Christian churches who hold that anyone who is called to become clergy should be allowed to do so. Other religions, of course, have other practices. And depending on what the religion is, depending on the branch, denomination, or tradition within the religion, the requirements can vary considerably. But if you have fulfilled them and you are ordained and in good standing with that church, then you go to the Secretary of State and find out the local law. Most of the states are fairly easy. Certain states, including New York, Nevada, Hawaii, and Virginia, if I remember correctly, are considerably harder than the other states. Largely, oddly enough, largely because of real estate concerns, particularly Hawaii and also New York. Because, of course, in the United States, churches are tax exempt and so is property owned by them. And so this does enter into some extent to local church law. For the most part, though, once you are in fact ordained by your church, being recognized by the state is very easy. Now, what if you don't belong to one of these churches? Well then, you don't have a lot of alternatives. You can go out and found your own. You can also go to one of several churches that give credentials very easily, such as the Universal Life Church. And many people criticize the Universal Life Church. I personally am very grateful to it because for many years it was one of the principal churches that recognized pagan clergy. Before there were very many pagan churches doing it. And most people who have been in the pagan community for 20 to 30 years have at one time or another held credentials through the Universal Life Church, and I think they provided a very important service to people who belong to religions outside of what's normally considered the mainstream. Nor were they the only ones doing it. Today, however, if you happen to be pagan, there are many pagan churches that can grant credentials, and they usually require anywhere from 1 year to several years of training before they're willing to do so. I suppose I should continue just slightly with the subject of what if you want to found your own church? And the answer is that in the United States, that's very easy to do. Running it is not so easy, but founding it is very easy, for the most part in all the different states. So I hope that answers your question. It's only a brief look at a complicated subject, but until next time, may you blessed be.